When you open a map app on your phone and ask it for directions, your brain doesn't have to process the millions of individual streets in the city. The software simply identifies your starting point, your destination, and calculates the fastest route between them. To do this, it relies on graph theory, a branch of mathematics that strips away the physical noise of the city. It reduces every intersection or address into a simple dot, called a node, and every connecting road into a line, called an edge. But what happens when we apply this mathematical logic to a digital network? By treating digital data like a physical map, investigators can look for specific structures within billions of connections that otherwise appear disconnected. Take Bitcoin. The core promise of the system is pseudonymity. To send money, users don't need to provide a real-world identity. They simply generate public keys. These act as digital addresses, and a single user can generate as many as they want to hide their tracks. This feature made cryptocurrency the default financial engine for illicit activities. In 2017, the WannaCry ransomware attack targeted 300,000 systems worldwide, with the attackers demanding payments through these anonymous digital wallets. To hide the stolen funds, criminals often use chain hopping. They move the Bitcoin rapidly across thousands of newly generated decoy wallets, attempting to break any simple linear trace. To a casual observer, a ledger containing over 400 million transactions is just an overwhelming volume of raw data. But for an investigator, that volume is a dataset that can be analyzed to find specific, recurring patterns of movement. The Bitcoin blockchain is entirely public. To analyze it, investigators first parse the raw hexadecimal code into a structured format, allowing them to extract the relationships between every sender and receiver. They use this data to build a property graph. Here, every transaction is represented as a vertex, and the actual flow of Bitcoin is represented as a directed edge. When you map the entire history of Bitcoin this way, you get a graph containing millions of nodes and billions of edges, representing every transfer ever recorded. To find the money, analysts use the shortest path traversal algorithm. It calculates the most direct route from a victim's wallet to an endpoint, identifying the specific sequence of transfers, while filtering out the thousands of unrelated decoy nodes. By isolating this single thread, the algorithm removes the defensive scale that criminals rely on to hide their movements. However, criminals rarely use a single path. They aggressively split and mix funds across hundreds of addresses to prevent a linear trace from reaching their main accounts. Analysts counter this by using heuristics, mathematical rules that identify when different anonymous wallets are actually controlled by the same person. The multi-input heuristic looks at transactions where multiple wallets are used to fund a single large payment. Because those inputs are combined to authorize the spend, the math indicates they are controlled by the same person. Then there's the change address heuristic. When a transaction is made, any remaining balance is automatically sent to a new change address. Since that address is created by the same wallet software, it is linked back to the original sender. When these rules are applied across the entire graph, millions of seemingly random wallets start collapsing into a much smaller number of distinct groups. This shift changes the investigation. Analysts are no longer looking at abstract numbers. They are tracking the continuous movements of human entities through the digital network. To spend their stolen money, criminals must eventually exit the digital network. They have to convert their Bitcoin into a traditional currency that can be used in the physical world. This means the trace usually ends at an off-ramp, a real-world exit point like a digital exchange or a physical crypto teller. These locations are where the digital trace intersects with reality. To get cash, a user must provide a real-world ID, a bank account, or a physical location. Because graph theory has already clustered all of their wallets together, investigators only need one single wallet in that group to touch an exchange to identify the person behind the entire cluster. Bitcoin's anonymity is often called a double-edged sword. While it allows for private transactions, it also provides a transparent record of every movement. The blockchain is a public, immutable ledger. Every transaction remains accessible forever, which means as analytical techniques and computing power improve, investigators can revisit historical data to solve years-old crimes. Cybercriminals often believe they are hidden by the sheer scale of the network, But by using graph theory to link those movements, investigators are turning years of digital noise into a visible, permanent record.